My name is Abbot Cletus. I'm the abbot of St. Bernard Abbey here in Cullman, and on the campus of St. Bernard Abbey and the prep school. This coming weekend, Father Marcus and I will be celebrating our 40th anniversary of ordination to the priesthood, although our actual date of ordination was May 24th, 1971, but this was an opportunity when we have Benefactors Day to have a lot of the benefactors and friends coming to celebrate that day, and we thought we would sort of bring the two together. All I can say, I guess, in regard to my life at St. Bernard, which in that real sense predates the ordination itself, was taking monastic vows in 1965, and I always kiddingly say that they never asked me to leave, so I stayed, and here I am actually 50 years later. And as I think about this coming Sunday when we have these celebrations, my mind turns also to those men, many of whom are not alive, who have had a real influence on my life, and I know indeed that those who have had an influence or some type of an effect in my life will be present, not necessarily physically, of course, but they will be present when we stand at the altar to offer the Mass. I think primarily, of course, of my own parents who encouraged vocations within the home, and then other men, that the monks who visited my home parish and made it possible for me to come to St. Bernard as a young boy in high school, and things just progressed right along. It was a great opportunity for me in so many ways, becoming a monk and to live in an atmosphere of dedicated men according to the rule of St. Benedict. And Abbot Gregory actually was the abbot at the time I was ordained, and those many years. I mean, I can think of the 40 years, but as I look back, it seems like yesterday. I can remember really the particulars of the ordination day, and the deep awareness at that time that of not being worthy of such a grace, such a gift, and I could still say I feel that way today. But be that as it may, by God's grace, I am a priest, I am a monk, and His grace has been indeed generous over these 40 years, giving us great opportunities that I don't think I would have ever had in another form of life, but also the responsibilities of trying to be a good servant, a faithful servant of God, and the life in the community, the Benedictine community here with the monks. It's gift and it's also task, and I think the gift of God's goodness and love for calling to the monastic life and calling to ordination to the priesthood, both have been great graces in my life, and have also carried with it the responsibility of being of service to the church in whatever circumstance we find ourselves. St. Bernard and Benedictines oftentimes always been tied up with apostolic work, whether it's in the school that we have here or sometimes in the parishes. I was fortunate to be a pastor in town at Sacred Heart Parish here in Cullman, and a great opportunity to exercise my priesthood in terms of the priestly ministry and service to that parish. I guess, again, I only half kiddingly say that because they treated me so nice and made me look so good as a pastor, I was elected as abbot here at St. Bernard. And that too has been gift and task, and being able to fulfill that role within the community is important, that I rely upon the grace of God in terms of dealing with the men that are here and of trying to be faithful to the rule that St. Benedict lays out for us in terms of how to live the common life. St. Benedict was a man who was wise, of course, Pope St. Gregory the Great, who wrote a biography in his, I can't think of the name of the book right now, but I'll remember it probably about the time we finish this interview, or whatever. But it's in the Dialogues of St. Gregory. He said that if you want to know St. Benedict, because we have very little actual biographical material on him, said, if you really want to know who St. Benedict is, read his rule, because he could not have lived other than he taught. And the rule is a very small document, but full of wisdom, full of the wisdom of a man who, yes, was indeed a saint in the strict sense of the word, but who also was a great observer of human nature, human behavior, realizing that the call to holiness, the call to sanctity, has to be built on nature. But at the same time, always recognizing that the grace of God gives us the ability to do this. And I think that's been the case of my own, throughout my life, the grace of God in terms of family, parents especially, parents who made great sacrifices because they valued Catholic education. I always again too say that before busing was popular in the civil rights era, we were already being bused from our home in Cleveland, Tennessee, to Chattanooga, which had the nearest Catholic school. And there was a great sacrifice on their part. Didn't completely know that until later on you begin to be aware of the sacrifices that they made, and then also the sacrifices they made in order that I could come here to St. Bernard. And they encouraged me in that faith, and I'll feel a strong sense of their presence when we celebrate this Jubilee year of the 40th anniversary. Was elected by the monks in 1995 to be the abbot of this community, and again, one of those things that's sort of a daunting task, but I think it also demands, and I think that's what happens, not only responsibility from me, but also the response and support of the whole community in the efforts and directions that we've tried to go and trying to be authentic monks, authentic witnesses to the grace of God in our own lives and within the context of the community itself, but also with regard to the world at large. We have enterprises here that bring us into contact with the public, and whether it's in the prep school, the Ave Maria Grotto Pilgrimage Center, or our retreat and conference center. It brings a lot of visitors to the Abbey. And it's our purpose to, as St. Benedict tells us in terms of receiving guests, to receive them as Christ with a sense of reverence and respect, always trying to be a witness to them of God's goodness and love in our lives, and not always necessarily the groups that are here are Catholic, but somehow our task is ultimately to be credible, to be witnesses that give a person a reason to believe in the grace and love of God. So that's what our life should be ultimately taken up with. And these 40 years have been, in the priesthood, have been part of that. And I think none of this could happen without grace, without the divine grace of God sustaining us at every step along the way. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful to the many people who have crossed my path, who have become part of my life. Many of them, as I say, who will not be physically present, but they will be, many of them in the communion of saints will be present at the altar that day. And so it's, all I can say is thanks to God and thanks to so many people who have made this coming day, this Sunday, possible. And the Mass will indeed be a Mass of thanksgiving and praise, because most of this is God's work in spite of ourselves so many times. The biggest thing we can do, I think, in religious life is simply to get out of the way, let God's grace have its effect. And it's amazing what can happen in us and through us if we just allow that grace to become embodied and made manifest by what we say, what we do.